So let's talk about browser tools. This was sort of inspired by the university we had last week that was about low cost therapy. And she was showing us how to search a web page for a certain word. And I thought now would be a good time to talk about ways to use the tools specifically on Google Chrome to make browsing easier for us. So I wanted to start by saying we throw this word browser around. What is it? So a browser or a web browser is any app that you use to look at web pages. So you can have all sorts of apps on your phone. When you're doing one that goes to websites, that's generally going to be a browser. Many of you probably have Google Chrome. That's what we're going to be using as an example today. Some other different browsers that you might have heard of before or have on your phone or computer are Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari. If you have an iPhone, sometimes it has Safari already downloaded on it. All of those are fine to use. Google Chrome is the most used worldwide. So I figured looking at Google Chrome would be helpful for the most people in terms of using these tools. Other browsers have tools that are similar to this, but we're going to just focus on Google Chrome today. And Google Chrome works with both Android and iPhone. And if it's not on your phone, you can download it for free in your Play Store or App Store. And the icon for it looks just like this. Little wheel on the right. Let's start out with how you use the search bar on Google Chrome, and this will be true for other browsers as well. So when you open Google Chrome, you'll have this at the top of your screen. So what I have cut here is the top of the screen, and you should see a little bar where you can type stuff in, right? And so you can do one of at least two things there. So we're going to work with the Low Cost Therapy NYC website. And since we have that website handy, we can just type it in there. All right, so lowcosttherapy.nyc. So if you know the website, you can type it out. You can click on a link, which should take you directly to your web browser and open the site for you. If you didn't know and you remember some of the words that were in the name of the site, like low cost therapy, you can use the exact same bar, the same blank space up there to do a Google search. So you see right here, I can type in low cost therapy. The little Google will come up on the left there because it'll be Google searching instead of just going straight to a website. So just do that, hit return or go or whatever the enter is on your phone or computer, and it'll start a search for that if you don't have the website handy. And that can be really helpful. And I just wanted to show you, if you do that search for low cost therapy, scroll down a little bit, about the fourth or fifth result on the Google search for me was low cost therapy NYC. So it does get you to where you want to go. Sometimes you have to make your search more specific to find what you want, but that's a good way of looking for things if you don't have the exact address. All right, so I wanted to show you first, some websites are sort of set up to be seen on a desktop computer, like a full screen computer. And sometimes when we open those up with those kinds of websites up with our phone, they can look a little funnier. They can get cropped off, or like you see here on the left, you see the font is really big and sort of gets pushed over on this side of the screen. If you ever open a website and you see it looking like that, there's a real simple solution to that. And I'm going to show you first how to access the menu that's going to get us to all the things we want to see today, but also how to make that sort of look better and fit better on your phone so that you can navigate it a little bit easier. Okay, so these three dots are the key for today, for everything we're going to do today. So in the top of your Google Chrome browser, you should see these three dots. This will get you to the menu for all the tips and tricks and tools we're using today. So just remember that, all right? Three dots, okay? To make this fit better on your phone, you're gonna click on the three dots, and then you're gonna click and check here where it says desktop site. And what that does is it sort of formats the website so that it, even if it was formatted originally to be on a desktop, it'll get formatted down so it'll fit on your phone a little bit better. You can do this with any website that seems like it might look better if you move it around a little bit. This is what it looks like once we set it onto desktop site. So it's a little bit easier to see. So that's just something you can use for whatever website if you'd like to see it from a different view. Sometimes you do that with things that have actually been made to see on the phone too, and the website can get really, really, really small. So you don't want to do this for everything. You want to do it when it's sort of big and you want to scale it back down so it fits well on your phone. And again, so just so you remember, three dots. You do the three dots, it'll get you to this menu, and you check desktop. Okay, so that's the first little trick, is to do desktop site. So if you want to search for a word, a phrase, a number in a website, this is how you do it. Okay, so again, you're going to click on those three dots to get to this menu, and you're going to go down to where it says find in page. So since we're using the low cost therapy website, I thought it would be good to search Medicaid, right? So let's say that we get on here and we're looking for therapy options where they take Medicaid. So we want to see all the places where Medicaid is mentioned on this page. And low cost therapy in NYC is a helpful page because it's all one page. So this will go down and search the whole thing for all the places where it says Medicaid. So what we're going to do, three dots, go to find in page. And when you click on find in page, you'll get this little box at the top of your screen. And don't confuse that with the box that we were talking about before that was like for websites or searches. This is to specifically search this page for a word. So like I said, we're going to type in Medicaid. And when we type in Medicaid here, again, there's a close up of it down here, but we're looked up here. So when you type that in, we're going to see 1 out of 33. And what that means is that Medicaid is mentioned 33 times on this page. And right now, the one that's highlighted in front of us is the first mention of Medicaid on the page. So if you want to scroll through and see all the times that Medicaid is mentioned, you're going to push these down buttons. And then if you want to go back up, you push up. So you can navigate through with the down and up buttons to see every single time on this page that Medicaid is mentioned. And again, you can do this for any word, any phrase, any number, anything like that. So, okay, let's say, we want to browse all these places where Medicaid's mentioned because we're trying to find a therapy provider that takes Medicaid. You see here, we press the down arrow. This is the second time that Medicaid is mentioned. So this is just a general statement that they're saying that some community health clinics and nonprofits accept Medicaid. But if we keep going, like you get down to 5, you'll see we actually get to a particular listing where it says that they do accept Medicaid, right? So if we were looking for that, we could make a note of that particular location and say, this is one of my options, and look at, the location and everything else to sort of determine if that would work for us, but filtering in the fact that they do take Medicaid. Okay, and you can just go all the way down till you get to 33, and then you can go back up. It's just a sort of shorthand way to search for something real specific that you're looking for on a single web page. One thing I did want to note on here too is that sometimes, see down here, when you're searching for a word, the context of that word might be, this place does not accept Medicaid, right? It could be that that word's being mentioned because there's something that's being negated about that word. So always make sure that you look for the context of words when you search them. So right here, I just wanted to show you as an example. It says, well, the treatment center does not accept insurance, Medicaid, or Medicare. So make sure that you're noting what's around your word or two, just so you don't, make a note of one of these places or make a note of whatever it is you're looking for. And then it turns out that that actually was something that they were saying they don't have or that isn't there. So just don't look at just the word, look at its content too. And when you're done doing this search, you can just click the X and that'll take that box away and then you'll just be back to the regular web page. So that's find in page. Next, we're going to look at bookmarking. So bookmarking is a way for you to, mark a particular website so that you can come back and look at it later. So you don't have to remember the web address. It'll just be in your sort of list of websites that you want to access. So this can be helpful for things that you go to often. One thing that I would recommend you bookmark is the sign-in sheet for Smart, because you're using it every week. It's the same sign-in sheet every time. When you go there, just do this, bookmark it, and then you'll have it in your phone and you can go there directly. Remember though, don't sign in earlier than 30 minutes before class, but just to have it in there so you don't have to look for it every time. But for this example, we're going to bookmark the low cost therapy and NYC website. So once again, press the 3 dots in your top right hand corner, always the 3 dots. All right. And up at the top of this menu, you're going to see like the outline of a star. Okay. And what you want to do is when you're on the website that you want to bookmark, click the 3 dots and click that star, and that will bookmark that specific website for you. Okay. And when you do that, you should see a little pop-up message at the bottom of your screen that says that the site has been bookmarked. And then, when you want to access your bookmarks, when you come back to your phone and say, oh, I want to look at the low cost therapy NYC website again, press the 3 buttons and go to bookmarks. And what it'll do is give you a list of all your bookmarked sites. So you can go look at that list and just click on the site you want to visit. So it's kind of, it's almost like you've got your own sort of bookshelf more of pages that you want to go to. And this is really helpful too if you just use something a lot like the signage. You have to remember it every time. Okay, last but not least, we're going to talk about the translating feature in Google Chrome. This is a really interesting one. So you can translate full web pages in lots and lots of different languages using Google Chrome, which relies on Google Translate. It's not necessarily a perfect translation because it's doing it automatically, but it can be very helpful if you don't speak the language that a website is in. So again, click on the three dots, go down to translate. And what Google Chrome will initially do is automatically detect what language the website is originally in. So for low cost therapy in NYC, that'll be English. So let me show you what that looks like. So it'll say detected language to English, which is correct. So once you see this, you can click on this gear here. All right. And when you click on the gear, a whole list of languages will pop up. It's very long. You see it only just gets down to the B's here. But for this example, I wanted to use Simplified Chinese. All right. So I want to say, oh, I want to translate this website into Simplified Chinese. Okay. So it's detected the original language is English. We're going to translate it to Chinese. Okay. So we'll just scroll down and select Chinese. And once we do that, you just click on it and it will pop up very quickly with the translation of the web page. Again, not always perfect because it's automatic, but it should help you get a gist of what is being said on a web page if it's in a language that you don't speak. And when you translate it over, it should at least give you an approximate translation of what's being said there that can be really helpful. If you want to go back to the original language it was in, so if we wanted to go back to English now, we would click undo and it would just go back to the English version of the page. And just in case this is something that you want to use often, I wanted to show you that you can actually set up your browser, Google Chrome, to translate pages automatically from one language to another. So if you always wanted pages in English to be translated to Spanish, you can do that and it would do it automatically. So what you would do is, for this example, we'll use Spanish. So we would go in here, do the steps that we just mentioned. So three dots, go to translate. It would detect that the language was English, and then you would select Spanish to translate it. Once you've done that, you'd click this gear again. All right, and you'll see this drop-down menu at this point that'll say always translate pages in English. It says never translate pages in English, never translate this site. Obviously, you want to translate this site because you've already done this. So what I want to focus on here is always translate pages in English. And if you check that off, any web page that you go to that is originally in English will be automatically translated into Spanish for you. And that can be helpful if your primary language is not the one that you're actually accessing websites in that language. So to make it just do that automatically so you don't have to do it every time. You can do this with Chinese, you can do this with Russian, you can do this with any other language. You know, if it's in this language, translate it to this other language for me. And if you ever do this and then want to turn it off, you just go through the same steps, go to translate, go up to the gear, and then uncheck where it says always translate pages in English. And you can do that as well. If you remember one thing today, it's in Google Chrome. When you want to use some of these browser tools, go up to your top right corner, hit the three buttons, you'll see the drop down menu, and then you'll be able to find your bookmark star. You will be able to find in page. You can find translate there. All of those tools, and you can play around with the other ones that are there too. I just wanted to highlight some of the ones that might be most useful to you. Mess around with it. Three dots at the top, you get your drop down menu, and then see what you can do with that Google Chrome browser.